How do I get back? Anyways, yeah, so I was actually unfamiliar to an extent with HG Fortune, who was a plugin creator of a lot of stuff. We can go over here. I have 53. I think I have all 53. HG Fortune 39, all 39 plugins released by this individual. And today we're going to look at 3 that came in a pair: Swamp, Swamp XT, and Ultra Swamp. We're gonna look at them in order, and I decided to attach literally just a random effect to each of these, and we're gonna get to those with Swamp being where we start, and Swamp I've paired up with Fluid. Which I know what Fluid is. Fluid's by Audio Damage. And Fluid's a little weird. We're just gonna straight up go into a noise. Let's make a noise. That's Fluid. And obviously it's also Swamp. So we're gonna play with Swamp for a little bit before we turn on Fluid, and I'll explain each one. So what is Swamp? Well, Swamp is one of these early sort of virtual instrument kind of thingies where you have basically 2 sound banks, each one of these with presets 63 each, all the same in both. And you're basically just being asked, hey, pick oscillator 1 and oscillator 2, and you get a noise. It makes those noises one noise. Yeah, and what's cool about Swamp is there's a lot of really gross detuning and retriggering, and just a lot of really hard at hearing sound effects, or sonic essence, I guess you could say. Tonally, this plugin very hard on the ears, but in a good way. And what I like the most about all of these plugins from HG Fortune is the lazy setting, which is you can just click lazy and it just randomizes anything in that quadrant. So you can just hit lazy over here and get your LFO sync and your waves, and then all of your stuff up here with your other LFOs. Just lazy sync, lazy randomized. It's cool. It's really, really cool. You can do the same over here with your envelopes, which I think is really cool. One thing I don't know is it never changes the release of these, and I don't know why. Like, your release will just always be at whatever your release was prior to hitting any changes. But this also changes everything over here, like the panning mode, the panning, I believe the volume, not the volume. This is the lazy for everything, but yeah. So lazy for your envelope, lazy for everything. And then if you just want lazy over here on your second oscillator or on your first, you have those two. Yeah, that's what I think is really cool. We also have a special guest this video. This is the box that tells me to edit to here. I fixed it. Big cut, big edit. We have a special guest this week. It's a drum loop. It's a really nice like boom bap style drum loop too. So we're gonna be able to play that drum loop and get fun with it. Yeah, so I mean that's that's Swamp, you know. If we want to go on now, we can throw on Fluid. Which if you couldn't tell, Fluid's just kind of this really hard to demonstrate with something like Swamp, but it's sort of this sort of this vibrato rotary delay. It's kind of hard to explain. Because it's not a delay and it doesn't quite work like a chorus. It works a lot like TC Electronics, I think is what they're called. They have a plugin that's one of my favorite plugins of all time called the Tailspin. And it's just a really vintagey sounding vibrato. And this is like that, but really digital. We heard a little bit of it earlier. Let's hear some more of it now. We'll have the same sound too, so everything's consistent. Yeah, that's Fluid and Swap, the original Swap, I believe. I don't know what order these actually came out in. I just kind of have them here. I mean, we can listen to some more Swaps, some more everything. It's just, it's such a unique sound. I personally like to keep Fluid, which is also by Audio Damage. I like to keep Fluid at the same sort of settings I keep my Tailspin at, which is mix full and then everything, at sort of, I like to call it facing. So while they're not quite like this, they're a little like that, like two big googly eyes. Yep, that's those two. We're gonna move on now. The Swamp XT. Swamp XT is gonna be a cool one to look at. Because there's not really a lazy way out. Funny thing. There's lazy awe, there's lazy oscillator. But what's scary about this? Oh, and then this little fly is like the same sort of it's actually not on this one. It's but the same sort of like I don't want to call it a visualizer, but it's like, God, I don't know what you would call it. What you would call it back then. It's the sort of visual representation of your XY and how your oscillator is moving across what could be like a graph. We'll see it in a second when I hit the noise to play it. Oh, we got a double note there. But yeah, you get the idea. It's the same sort of thing as Swamp 1, but with a little more emphasis on visualized um visualized sonic adventure, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. It's this sort of like, you know where you're going with this. A lot more, and in a much more intuitive way than you do with something like Swamp, which we have here. Because Swamp's not bad. Swamp's not poorly labeled. It's just a little tiny. It's just a little ugly to look at. But that doesn't mean it's bad, and it doesn't mean it's worse or any different than Swamp XT. All three of these plugins stand on their own so well that that's why I'm sort of making this like it's not necessarily like a shootout between all three. All three are really good, and I don't actually have a favorite, to be completely honest. I like all of them equally, and I use them all across different genres. Sometimes in game composing, sometimes in ambient composing, sometimes if somebody needs a sound effect for a video game that's like a really spooky thing, I will just lazy all drop an octave and you just got a noise, you have something there. It's interesting to me that, like, you can really just kind of hit these lazies and just kind of end up somewhere. Sometimes it's somewhere crazy, and sometimes it's somewhere lovely and adventurous. But with Swamp XT is the one that I find the most chaotic, I guess the word could be. And it's primarily because you do just have this sort of what the fuck ism about it all. It's this sort of like, holy shit, this really is, it's just throwing noises at me, and it's oscillating, and it's 7 octaves up, 1 octave down, yada yada. Like, what's that noise even supposed to be? Speaking of noise, let's bring in our good friend over here, Mr. Liquid. Unfortunately, I will not be going through every possible crazy sound you can get with Mr. Liquid. 2005
Battery
Dark
low.
Wave, as you can see. Oh, that's embarrassing. This is an old plugin. You can probably find it for free on a lot of websites on the internet. If you Google Mr. Liquid synth
Charging
edit.
battery.
I'm sorry about all this. This is silly. I thought my headset was plugged in. But anyways, so this is gonna be a little something. I'm gonna try to make this pleasurable and not really hard on your ears, so bear with me. That's just our dry sound. Here's Mr. Liquid. Yeah, so Mr. Liquid is something I like to fuck around with down here in Bitwig, and not on the actual graphics interface of the plugin, because it's one of those plugins that just intentionally doesn't tell you what it's doing, which I'm sure was great back in the day, but you know, nowadays it's great to just have Bitwig say, hey, here's what all of these controls do. You know? Some of these are just completely inaudible and not at all ever going to work on a song. Unless you get crazy. You know what I like to do when I'm like, God, I really want to use this in a song, but I can't figure it out? I just go super massive and I just put the mix all the way up and just kind of just, I don't know. Even a preset. Maybe not, maybe not that preset, but I don't know, you can even do something like that. And I love how this turned into a supermassive demo. You want to make a bad sound good, just throw supermassive, a hollow supermassive on it. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's try to get this going with the drums too. We'll keep supermassive on. Why not? I'm gonna put on a preset that I know is like not going to destroy my life. We're gonna hit randomize, and with Mr. Liquid alive. You know what could make this work? Like a really weird EQ. And then a filter. Yeah, I can see that working. Something fun and stupid like that. It's kind of on you to get like really creative with it too, right? Like I guess if we turn supermassive, like not at 100, I guess in this case we can keep it like sub 30, right? And that's fun. And that's Swamp XT with Valhalla Supermassive and Mr. Liquid by Synth Edit. Next we have, I said I didn't have a favorite, and I don't, but if there was one that I'm ever gonna like really, really fuck around with and play with, it's Ultra Swamp. I don't know if there is an Ultra Swamp for unfree. Ultra Swamp free internal. Yeah, there's just no. The Ultra Swamp is just Ultra Swamp free, I guess. And what I like about this is there are presets, and this is my favorite preset, I think. That's my favorite preset for Ultra Swamp free edition. I don't know, it's just got this really nice textury pad to it. All of these are like really, really, really weird controls. Primarily just with the LFO and stuff. You can see what everything does over here. Like this is oscillator, that's resonance, stuff like that. That's kind of just what you kind of have to really get used to. This is the filter, this beat right here. I forget what E is. Oh, E is mod wheel density and stuff. But yeah, so what's cool about this is you can mute the oscillators too, which I love. Yeah, you get a lot of presets here. I want to say like 100 something, 128 presets, which is really a lot for something that's this simple. And there's not really a bunch of crazy things going on here with as compared to Swamp and Swap XT. You know, there's a bit of just exploring. Oh, this one's got weird noises going on. Just a bit of exploring here, more so than the other two, because the other two, it's sort of just you really got to hit random and you really got to hope that something cool happens. Otherwise, you can just sit in there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hours of a day and just explore sounds that way. But and what do we have as our special guest? Uh, Seated. This is a bit of a weird one. I'm gonna give another volume warning here. Definitely another volume warning. Seated Exciter by cybergrunge.net. Um, it's a it's like a weird modular, or I'm sorry, like a weird granular. Um, how do you describe it? How do you describe it? It's. I just gotta show you guys. I just gotta show you. Again, volume warning. When I have better time to edit these, I'll put visual indicators for a volume warning. But for now, volume warning, guys. That's on. This is off. Let's turn it on and play the same riff. And we can get a little dirtier with the clipping. So one way I'm trying to really not break everyone's eardrums here, which is it works really well with lush dark pads. I'm trying to find a pad that I know it's gonna work. Oh, Fluidity is a good one. So Fluidity Dry, just that's Fluidity. This is one of my favorite. With Seated, it gets a little rough. I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna get a cool sound out of it too, just so we get something. Here we go. Yeah, that's Seated. It's a lot. and it's the kind of plugin I can't really just throw you innocent people into. But yeah, Ultra Swamp free, I guess, because I don't think there's an actual one. But Ultra Swamp free, and then Seeded, two really fucking cool plugins. That I think a lot of people who like making noise music will like. Yeah, it's just an interesting plugin at the end of the day. You have these like these seeding options here, and I don't quite remember what they do. I think it's just three different distortion channels, and you're sort of just filtering high end shapes, and that's pretty much it. Because you can see these do nothing. These weird shape things don't really do anything. It's literally all the signal up here, and the clipping limit is sort of super vital once you understand how the rest of the plugin works, which unfortunately I don't. It's a lot to figure out Seeded because it's a really cool clipping tool. It works as this really nasty hard clipper if you get it just disgustingly wet, you know. But then it also has this capability to just completely lift up a mix, you know. The more you personally clean it up, obviously, like if we probably uncompress this, we get a little bit of a mess, right? I feel like with a quick attack compression, it's probably a lot better. This is just a noise generator that's a little chaotic, and I like chaotic. I like it a lot on like really low end things. Like if I just I don't know, if I make a low shelf here, you just kind of get really stupid with it. You know, there's just so much you can do. And then I guess last but not least, let's talk about our drums, because there's a little secret on the drums. Not only is there a delay, that's just a stock delay, but there's this really cool plugin, and his name is Mr. Alias. What does Mr. Alias do? Weird stuff. It adds like a synthy undertone to whatever it's being or whatever it's attempting to, I guess, manipulate. It's this weird limiter that instead of just pushing your frequency to a cap, it drives it up with like these weird little cute little pog champ modular synths. You can hit randomize and just get tons of cool different noises. Yeah. Stuff like this. You can experiment as well. There's so much room for creating like really absurdist sounds here. Just absolutely unhinged stuff. Like really unhinged stuff. But I really like the preset called Flower. Where are you? Flower is a preset that I put on a lot of things when I... Oh my goodness, I can't find it. Can I type it? I can, but nothing happens. Oh, that's a whole folder. I can't find flour. Anyways, yeah, there's just a bunch of really cool shit you can do with this plugin. It's sort of this like dark horse of weird plugins that are supposed to do one thing. Oh, here it is, flour. It has these little bubbly synths, and I love it. Especially if you bring the high end up a little. Huh. Yeah, there's just a lot of cool stuff happening with this plugin. That's a noise. Ooh, ouchie, my ear. Yeah, there's cool stuff you can do with Mr. Alias. Elias, Alias 2, whatever you want to call it. I like to put it over drums that are going a lot faster than this. And I don't like using Bieber. I like using like the flat sounds. Like stuff like this. You can always also just find like what these things do here. And just kind of just play around. There's so many cool things that this plugin does. That just finding the right mix of like super silly things. Whoa. Super silly things. Wait, that's a secret parameter up there? I mean, that's cool. I didn't even know that was up there. But yeah, that's it for this week. Well, it's not it for this week, because I'm going to have another video. I'm making up for I think a 3-day vacation from thingies. So yeah, that's this. Those were the Swamp Trio. Which one was your favorite? Like and comment below and tell me which one your favorite was. My favorite, if I had to pick a favorite, it's going to be Ultra Swamp. I think Ultra Swamp is just, even without seeded, Ultra Swamp is just this like, it's just this sweet little bean, you know? There's just so many cool noises I can make. Yeah, I don't know. I like my fits. I like my lifts. I love when a synth looks silly like this and still gives you really cool options. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this. All the links to these plugins that I can find that are available for free on the internet that don't require illegal ways to obtain, they'll be down there somewhere in the description. And then yeah, so if you guys want me to do specific plugins from HG Fortune, I am taking a request for this week. Somebody asked in the comment of the last video, so I'm gonna go over what they talked about. But yeah, if anyone has things specific from HG Fortune, I'm gonna get through all 31 of these. But if there's a preference for ones to get out of the way first, let me know, and I'll happily tackle those. But yeah, thank you guys.